You already know the scores you can see: credit score, star rating, job review, bank record. Kinda annoying, but at least visible. You can ask about them. You can even try to fix them. But what about the scores you never see? The score behind the screen, watching what you buy, where you log in, how often you cancel, how risky you look, and how much trouble a company thinks you might become. By the end of this video, you'll understand why the most important score in your life may be the one you've never seen. Because right now, you may already have many scores: a customer score, a fraud score, a worker score, a trust score, even a behavior score. Nobody warns you, you just feel the result. The email never comes, the warning never arrives, but instead, what happens is, your account gets blocked, the refund gets denied, the good shift disappears, the job application gets rejected, and you sit there thinking, what the hell did I do? Maybe you didn't do one big thing, maybe you did 100 of small things. A late payment, a bad rating, a cancelled order, a refund request, a message that looked odd to software. Alone, each thing means almost nothing, but together they become a pattern. And once a system sees a pattern, it builds a version of you, not the real you, a digital shadow, a guess, a profile, a score, and that shadow can be judged before you even enter the room. This is not robots taking over the world. That is movie nonsense. This is quieter, more boring, and more dangerous, because real power does not always shout. Sometimes it whispers like, this person is risky, this person is safe, this person should be rejected, or this person should be accepted, and so on. And because the whisper comes from data, people trust it. That is how a number becomes stronger than a human being. Years ago, Target became famous for a story that still feels creepy today. The company wanted to predict what customers might buy next, because prediction means profit. One of the biggest retail moments is pregnancy. When someone is expecting a baby, shopping habits change. Lotions, vitamins, baby clothes, nappies, formula, furniture. So, Target studied small clues: products, timing, and combinations. One clue meant nothing, however. Many clues together could suggest something huge, like this customer might be pregnant. One famous story said a father got angry after his teenage daughter received baby-related coupons. Later, he reportedly found out she actually was pregnant. The creepy part is this: the girl never told anyone about the pregnancy. It was the pattern who revealed the information, and that is the modern reality. Your shopping can speak, your clicks can speak, your habits can speak. Sometimes your data can reveal something before you are ready to say it out loud. That is when a score stops feeling like marketing and starts feeling like a mirror you never asked for. And companies are not only guessing what you will buy, they are also guessing what's your overall worth. Are you loyal? Are you risky? Are you the one who is likely to complain? Likely to cost them money? Let's take an example. Two customers can use the same company and get different treatment. One gets help while the other waits. One gets approved and the other one gets blocked. Now let's take this even further. Journalist Kashmir Hill once asked companies what data they had collected about her. One company, Sift, sent her a file hundreds of pages long. It had information about food orders from the past, Airbnb messages, device information, app activity, logs, and patterns, tiny digital crumbs from different parts of her life. Now imagine your own version. You order dinner, you open a finance app, you refund something, you log in from a new phone. To you, each moment feels separate, but somewhere else, those moments can be lined up. Then they stop looking random. They start looking like evidence. Evidence of trust, evidence of risk, evidence of suspicious behavior. You are not just using an app. Instead, the app may be building a picture of you, and that picture can decide whether you are trusted. Maybe your order goes through or it gets blocked. Maybe your account looks safe or it gets flagged. Since nobody explains it properly, so you blame yourself. Maybe I clicked something wrong. Maybe it is just a glitch, and sometimes it is, but sometimes the system is working exactly as designed. It looked at your shadow, made a guess, and treated the guess like truth. Now bring this into work. This is where it hits your wallet. Shifts, pay, promotions, jobs, everything get affected. Many workers are now managed by numbers such as ratings, speed, attendance, cancellation rate, customer reviews, productivity. A worker is watched by a scoreboard, and the scoreboard never sleeps. It does not care if your baby was sick, or if the customer was rude, or if traffic was awful. All it does is just records the result. One bad score, like being late, being slow, getting a low rating, all these leads to fewer chances. Fewer chances then lead to worse numbers, and worse numbers lead to even fewer chances, thus creating a vicious cycle in which now you get trapped. Not because you became useless, but because the system gave you less room to recover. A score does not just measure your future, it can help create it and then use that in future as a proof that it was right. And this is not just delivery apps or rideshare work. The same logic has entered hiring. For instance, Amazon once built an experimental AI recruiting tool to score job candidates. Reports said it rated people like a 5-star system. Sounds efficient, right? Give the machine hundreds of resumes and let it find the best ones, which will save a lot of time. But there was a problem. The system had learned from past hiring patterns in a tech industry dominated by men, so it reportedly started downgrading resumes linked to women. Not because a manager sat there and said, "Reject this person." The machine learned the old pattern and repeated it. That is the nightmare. Old bias gets dressed up as new technology. It looks clean, it looks smart, it looks neutral, but underneath it may be carrying yesterday's unfairness into tomorrow's decisions. In the end, Amazon scrapped the tool, but the lesson stayed. A score can block a human before another human has even noticed them. That is why invisible scores are so powerful. They only need to influence the first step. Who gets seen? Who gets skipped? Who gets flagged? Who gets trusted? Who gets treated like a problem? Most people think unfairness is loud, a slammed door, a cruel comment, an obvious rejection. But modern unfairness can be quiet. It can happen before anyone reads your name, before anyone hears your story, before you even know you were judged. A filter can decide, a ranking can decide, a risk label can decide, a score can decide. And when you ask why, everyone points somewhere else. The worker says, "I just follow the system." The company says, "We use data for safety." Support says, "We cannot provide more details." And there you are, fighting something like a fog or a wind. I just want to say this, not all scoring is bad. For instance, there are fraud detection, safety, risk, and performance matter. But measurement needs limits. If a score can affect your money, job, home, account, freedom, or dignity, then you have every right to know it exists. You should know what data is being used. You should have a way to correct mistakes. You should have a way to make an appeal. Because life is messy. People get sick, people make mistakes, people improve, people get unlucky. But the sad reality is that many systems do not care about your story. They mostly care about your pattern. And it doesn't concern to the system that a pattern is not a person, or that a score is not a soul, or that a prediction is not the truth. But if enough people treat it like truth, eventually it becomes real anyway. And that is the trap. If a system thinks you are risky, it may give you fewer chances, because if you get fewer chances, you fall behind. And when you fall behind, the system will say, "See, I was right." That is not fairness. That is a loop. Every app, order, review, message, application, refund, and complaint becomes a signal. Signals become patterns. Patterns become scores. Scores become decisions. Decisions become your life. Most people only notice the last part. The rejection, the delay, the blocked account, the lost opportunity. They do not see the score behind any of it. You cannot stop using every system. That is not real life. But you can stop being naive. Your data does not just sit there. It moves, it gets shared, it gets analyzed, it becomes guesses about you. You may never see the number, but the number may still see you. It may see your habits, mistakes, delays, ratings, and patterns. It may see all of that and still never see the real you. So, next time life suddenly feels harder than it should, ask one question. Who scored me before I even walked into the room? Because today, the most powerful judge may not wear a robe. It may not sit in an office. It may not know your face. It may just be a number, quiet, invisible, cold, and already deciding what happens next.